Hello, everybody. Welcome to SRA 365. I'm, of course, Professor S, and this is today's lecture. So, a couple of things. First, I'll talk about Lab 3. Then I'm going to go over practice problem solutions. Then we're going to go drill on more stuff related to Z-score and stuff like that. Okay? It's kind of a different approach, a rapid-fire question that's best if you try to work along with me. All right. Anyways, for Lab 3, one of the things that I've notice for this is that people are doing things that they don't necessarily need to do. Okay, so for this one, I don't remember if the mean and standard deviation are the same as they are in the lab, but the idea is like you have the mean is 3.986 and standard deviation is 0.534. Okay, determine whether or not transactions or suspicious. Brokers want to ignore prices that are within one standard deviation away from the mean. Assuming scores are normally distributed, determine the bounds for the prices that are safe to ignore by this policy. So what people like to try to do is use the Q norm or something like that to try to find out what those X values would have to be. But you don't need to. The idea is like, remember, we're solving for X given essentially the Z, which is 1, right? Because it's one standard deviation away. So then essentially what we do is we subtract one standard deviation away from the mean for the lower bounds and add one standard deviation for the upper bounds. Okay, that's it. And then also notice for when we're doing 2 standard deviations away, we subtract twice that amount because it's 2 times standard deviation, and then we do the similar for the upper bounds. And so notice that our lower bounds is also less than our upper bounds, which is like always the case. Okay. And so what ends up happening, what we're trying to do is like if you look at this, the normal chart that we're assuming that we're going on here is that with the mean is 3.986 and the standard deviation is 0.534, the normal distribution curve ends up like this, where this is in between the single bounds or the single standard deviation, and this is 2 standard deviations away, and then this is the rest of it. Okay, and those calculations at the bottom are are what we just calculated. Anyways, here's the practice problem solutions. Now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be working on rapid fire questions. Try to do this in RStudio as you go and see if you can figure out what these are. So these are multiple choice questions. So here's the first one. So think about if you can see which, like put this into R and see if you can get it. It's this, right? All right. For number 2, pause if you want to work on this. All right, did you get this? Now, there are 2 different ways that you could do this, because remember, we're given Z value, and you can't really put Z into the P norm, right? What you have to do is you have 2 options. First is you convert it to a X value, and that's what we did here. We also did that in the practice problems. Or what you could do is since all the distributions are similar, right? We just like every Z value is the same. What you could do is remember Z and X are the same in standard normal distribution. So if you do standard normal distribution where the mean is 0, standard deviation is 1, and plug that in, you'll get the exact same value, which is 0.7627. Okay. Now try this one. Pause if you need to. All right. The answer is C, right? And the way that we do that is we do P norm because we have X. Notice that the mean is 23, standard deviation is 5.1, and of course lower tail is false because we want to go to the right. So it's 0.0388. Okay. Now see if you can get this one. Pause if you need to. Now you should have gotten B for this one. It's weird, right? But if you think about it, think about like if you put in Q norm 1.2, 23 is the mean, 5.1 is the standard deviation, you'll get NaN or whatever. But that should kind of make sense. But because if you look at the area says that it's 1.2. Remember, the biggest area that we can have is 100% or just 1. So if you have 1.2, that's 20% more than what is possible, hence the error. So you can't go to the right of 100%, right? That's just not something that can be done. All right, anyways, here is number 5. See if you can do this one. Did you get C? So once again, there's two different ways. You could convert it to X. And so then what I did was I came up with a lower bound and an upper bound. And when you did lower with a to the right and upper to the right, then you want to subtract, I mean, like really with these areas, you want to subtract the smaller area from the bigger area. And in that case, that's the, when the lower tail's false in this case, we want the lower bound or the upper bound from the lower bound. So lower bound minus upper bound. And in this case, each time you get 0.2425. Okay. All right. Now this one, see if you could get this one. Did you get B? Now, the way that we can do this is that we don't even need to use P norm or Q norm because it's just asking for Z when X is 12. So we're just solving for Z. We're plugging this in. So here's what I did. So I plugged the values in, rounded 3 decimal places, and I got negative 2.157. Okay. How about this one? Pause if you need to. Okay. The answer is B, right? So let's take a look at this. So if we know that it's the sample size of 8 had a mean of 21, thinking about how that works with our distribution, remember with central limit theorem, if we collect infinite amount of samples, right, of like in this case size 8, the mean of those samples would be the mean of the population. And then also in this specific standard deviation, the standard deviation is equal to the population standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size. So if we plug those values in, that's how we get that value of being negative 2.157. Did I get you? All right, let's do number 8 here. All right. So we assumed that the population mean is 23, population standard deviation is 5.1. Suppose we found a sample of size 8 that had a mean of 21. Cool. Since our mean is different than what we thought the population mean, we want to test if it is less. What is the p-value of the test statistic? Ooh. You ready for this? You're definitely going to want to pause and come back to this. You ready? It's D. Okay. Here, let's kind of look into it a little bit more. Now, remember, the first thing that we have to do for the test statistic is come up with either Z or T. In this case, it's Z because we know the population standard deviation. So we come up with a Z statistics using the formula over there, right? And then we plug that in to the standard normal distribution and we get 0.134. So anyways, if you need to, what I recommend doing if you didn't do so hot, come back to this tomorrow, right? Empty, like clear off your RStudio thing and try again. Something to keep in mind with the areas, like for this one, is that the areas should always be positive. If you come up with negative areas, you're making a mistake somewhere. And so it could be just like the positive version of it. Maybe you just have to look to see where you made a mistake and then go from there. Okay. But having a negative area should be a red flag. Anyways, I think that is good for today. Hopefully you found it useful. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Hey everyone. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please press the like button below. It lets me know I'm doing something right. If you have any questions about any of the content, please send a message to both me and the rest of the teaching team in Canvas, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Don't send it through normal email. You will not get a fast response. If you have any suggestions for how I can make these videos better, please leave in the comments below. Don't forget to roundhouse kick the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified for the next video. Anyways, I think that's good for now. See y'all later. Bye.